name is Rachel. I got married, and in the third year of my marriage, I was finally blessed with a child whom I gave birth to and named her Jennifer. I was determined to cherish and raise this child together with my husband. But life is cruel. On my daughter's first birthday, on a day of ceaseless rain, my husband was caught in a traffic accident and passed away. In an instant, my daughter lost her father and I lost my husband, and it felt like we were thrown into an immense darkness. Then, the parents of my late husband comforted me with their words. They were desperately encouraging me, even though they must have been in greater grief than me losing their own son. I couldn't stop my tears from overflowing. They kindly said to me, "It's sad, but for the sake of raising Jennifer properly, we'll help you too." Upon hearing these words, I tightened my resolve that I would have to raise my daughter alone without my husband. After spending several days crying, I decided to put my grief in my heart and go back to work. I continued to work hard day and night for Jennifer's future, living with my in-laws, and occasionally getting help from my own family. Due to this lifestyle, I think Jennifer was more attached to my in-laws than to me. Even so, Jennifer called me ma'am, and her smile would instantly erase all my fatigue from the day. Time passed, and when my work started to recognize and Jennifer turned 18, I couldn't help but cry tears of joy seeing her as an adult. I bought her a beautiful formal dress from prom, and upon seeing her, my in-laws also shed tears. On the day of the prom, we dropped Jennifer off at the venue, and my in-laws and I shared a tearful hug, overcome with emotion watching her retreating figure. After the prom, Jennifer was set to a party with her classmates, and she came home once to change into casual clothes before going out again. "Rachel, we really appreciate all the effort you put into raising Jennifer." "That's true, Rachel. You've done an amazing job. I couldn't have done it without your help. You both have supported me in raising Jennifer and managing work." My father-in-law, while running his own business, took care of Jennifer in my place on his days off together with my mother-in-law while I was working part-time. With their help, I cherished and raised Jennifer in my own way, and in response to that, Jennifer made it into one of the top universities. I managed to cover everything from tuition fees for her cram school to her university tuition, thinking of making Jennifer's life a rich one. I thought it was important for Jennifer to be able to find a job or employment she wanted after entering university, so I decided to watch over her without interfering. Even though there were 2 years left of her college life, I spent my time feeling relieved. However, there was something I hadn't noticed. I didn't know how Jennifer thought of me. As soon as Jennifer entered her university, she started living alone. Worried, I occasionally visited her apartment to check on her, and provided groceries to make sure she could enjoy her uni life. Life supporting Jennifer was settling down as she approached graduation, and it seemed like Jennifer understood the situation. "Thank you for everything, ma'am." When I heard her words of gratitude, I felt that all my previous struggle had been rewarded. I whispered in my heart, "Ah, my role is finished." "Rachel, we still have Jennifer's wedding. When the time comes, let's celebrate grandly. There are still more celebrations to come." Upon hearing these words, I nodded and bowed in my heart that if Jennifer chose to marry in her future, I would celebrate her grandly. Time flew by, and Jennifer graduated from university. After 4 years, she introduced her fiancé to our family. Jennifer, who introduced her fiancé, named Jack, seemed to love him very much. Jack, who didn't speak much, was a wonderful young man who fearlessly and proudly greeted me and my in-laws with, "Please take care of me from now on." Jennifer seemed to like Jack's demeanor and, "Isn't my fiancé wonderful?" she jokingly clung to Jack, saying, "It seemed they had already decided to have a wedding ceremony." And when asked about the details by her grandmother, Jennifer said, "I want to invite lots of friends and colleagues from work to the wedding. I want to have a grand ceremony." When I heard her words, knowing Jennifer, I imagined she would be particular about the venue and the food served. I also thought about helping out with the savings I had accumulated for Jennifer. Listening to the young couple, time flew by quickly, and Jack returned home. Jennifer was supposed to stay at our house that day. After her grandparents went to bed, she said to me, "I have something to talk about." We sat down on the chairs in the living room, and just as I was wondering what it could be, Jennifer suddenly spoke up in a strong tone. "It's hard to say this, but I don't want you to come to the wedding." I didn't understand why Jennifer would say such a thing. I was thinking in my head, is it possible not to invite your own mother to your wedding? And I asked her, "Huh? What do you mean?" I was so taken aback that I couldn't think of anything else to say. Then Jennifer sighed deeply and looked at me as if wondering why I didn't understand, saying, "You see, Jack's family is a prestigious one that has been handed down from generation to generation. It's difficult for him to marry someone from a family without a father." "Did his parents say something to you because we are a single mother household?" "No." "Don't say ridiculous things, Mom. Jack and his parents are not bad people." I didn't understand why Jennifer suddenly yelled at me, but I understood that she cared about Jack and his parents. Knowing that Jennifer loved them was a good thing, considering there are people who have a hard time getting along with their spouse or their parents as a mother. I felt relieved. But what I couldn't understand was why she mentioned the fact that she was raised in a single mother household. When I went to greet Jack's parents and told them that my father died in a traffic accident, they comforted me, saying, "You must have had a hard time." And then I realized something. I realized that children from single-parent families live a life that is many times more difficult than those from other families. "What do you mean? Why didn't you think about remarrying, Mom?" "If you had remarried, I might have been able to live a life like everyone else without hardship. I could not have realized it because I was always studying, but I might have been able to live a more leisurely life if my dad was around, right?" I worked hard from morning till night, thinking that I didn't want Jennifer to be inconvenienced because we were a single mother family. I had no time to seek new encounters or to find a man who could be a good father to Jennifer. Even if you ask me such a thing now, I can only be puzzled. I never thought that Jennifer wanted to remarry. I once asked my grandparents, "But you are a janitor with a low salary, right, Mom? If there was a stepfather, I think life wouldn't have been so hard with a better salary." Thinking this way, it's because of my mother that I have led a miserable life until now. I didn't spare any expenses for her. When she wanted to go to cram school, I let her, and I also gave her rides to the school and back. And when she said she wanted to go to university, I came up with high tuition fees and let her graduate splendidly. Yet to be told that life was miserable. What was all the hard work I did from morning till night? I thought that the words "thank you" Jennifer used to say to me were not her true feelings. When I kept silent with these thoughts, she let out a big sigh and said, "The point is, I don't want a low-paid janitor like you at my wedding. Do you understand what I mean? I'm embarrassed because my fiancé is from a respectable family and my mother is a janitor. I wonder if my grandparents are okay with it. Although small, my grandfather is the president of a company. I think my grandmother cares more for me than my mother does. Are you okay with me, your mother, not attending the wedding then? Did you hear what I've been saying? I don't need a low-income janitor in my family. I'm going to marry into a proper family. Saying this, she gave me a look as if to say, you don't understand, do you? In me, feelings of disappointment for having devoted my entire life to my daughter mixed with thoughts of, oh well. I vowed to work hard and not let her suffer until she graduated from college, so it's none of my business what choices she makes in her life from now on. So now that she has graduated from college, unless she longs for me and seeks help, I decided not to do anything as a parent. But if she herself thinks that I am not her mother, I decided to respect the decision of my grown daughter, now a woman. Okay, I understand that you want to cut ties with me, so I won't attend the wedding. As I spoke, Jennifer began to laugh and said, That's what I was going to ask you to do. Now we are strangers, so please cut ties quickly and don't get involved in my life anymore. Leaving these words behind, she must have thought that since she was severing ties with me, her mother, she wouldn't have to stay at her parents' house anymore, so she left the house even though it was night. Just after she left her parents' house, my in-laws, who must have heard the situation, came to the living room, stared at me with a helpless look. My mother-in-law hugged me, and I cried for the first time in a long time at her kindness. A month has passed since that incident, and my in-laws and I are still living in the same house. I have not heard anything from Jennifer, although she seems to be contacting my in-laws. Jennifer says her wedding will cost about $70,000. She's asking us, an old couple, for a little financial help. What do you think we should do, dear? When asked by my mother-in-law, my father-in-law shook his head. A wedding should be conducted within one's means, so we won't help with the wedding costs. However, we will give a gift as she is our granddaughter, but we are not thinking of a large amount. He spoke decisively. This is an old story, but we also held our wedding ceremony within the budget that we could afford without any assistance from our parents or grandparents. Listening to my in-laws, I thought perhaps Jennifer assumed it was normal to receive financial assistance. During her college years, I sent her enough money every month so she could focus on her studies without needing to work part-time. Because of this, she might not understand the concept of earning and living on her own. As I wondered if I had made a mistake in the way I raised her, my mother-in-law quickly contacted Jennifer. Look, dear, we are sorry, but it's better to have a wedding that fits within your means. Your grandfather agrees too, so we are not considering assisting with your wedding expenses. Please don't get angry. That's how it is, so expect a call soon. After delivering the message, she immediately hung up. For my in-laws, she is a precious grandchild of their deceased son. However, they also seem to be dismayed and angry at her attitude towards me. They heard everything she said to me from the beginning, particularly her statement, "I don't want you at the wedding," which greatly angered them. My in-laws knew that I had been working hard from morning to night for her sake, and it was intolerable for them that her, who doesn't understand the struggles, was saying such selfish things. Moreover, Jennifer has misunderstood. The university she attended is a top-tier institution, and it would be impossible for a single mother who is a janitor to pay for such a school. Knowing that it would be difficult to afford, even if I worked several part-time jobs, I studied management and other subjects on my own with my part-time job knowledge and started my own cleaning company. Of course, I got off the ground with the backing of my father-in-law. I started the business with a small number of employees, and my first client was my father-in-law, who contracted me to clean his company. Taking into account my past experiences, I committed to doing slow work. When my father-in-law saw this, he recommended my company to his other president friends, and my company was gradually able to secure contracts and grew. I established a system where every single employee could perform cleaning tasks at the same level through training. As a result, our company became famous for being meticulous and fast. Now my company's management is stable, and I was thinking that I wanted to help Jennifer financially when she gets married, even just a little bit. But given the recent events, I couldn't feel that way and decided to invite my in-laws on a trip. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, would you like to go on a trip together? I'll take some time off, and my parents said they wanted to see your faces too. What do you think? That sounds lovely. Your parents will be there, so it will be lively and fun. I also have a lot of things I want to talk about. Your father and I have similar tastes in alcohol, so it's going to be fun. Ignoring Jennifer's wedding, we started preparing for the trip. A few months later, it was the day of her wedding. As I expected, my in-laws had decided to skip the ceremony, so we all decided to go on the trip that day. After arriving at the hot spring inn by bus and relaxing in the hot spring and our rooms, my cell phone started ringing and the screen displayed Jennifer. She hadn't been in touch at all until then, so I thought something must have happened on her wedding day. And when I answered the phone, suddenly she said, "Can you come to venue right now, Mom?" I was a bit upset, so I replied, "What are you talking about? You were the one who said you didn't want me to attend. You are embarrassed by your mother who's a janitor with a low income, right? Besides, even if you want me to come, you didn't even tell me the location of the venue." In a sarcastic way. About that," she said, sounding sorry. From the other end of the phone, I could hear voices other than her. I listened closely and heard a man's voice saying, "Your grandfather is a company president. And your mother is a company president too, right? I thought I'd be getting a lot of money, so I married you. I didn't hear anything about missing the wedding." The voice was unmistakably Jack, who I've only met once. I was surprised at Jennifer's way of thinking, but I was more astounded that the quiet Jack who I met the other day was such a person. Just as I was wondering if Jennifer was wrong to say he came from a prestigious family, she said, sounding desperate. "Then I'll tell you the location of the venue, so please come right now." "Impossible. I'm at the Hot Spring Inn. I'm on a vacation." I see. Then do you know where Grandma and Grandpa are? I tried to contact them yesterday to make sure they come to the wedding, but there was no response." Right. They didn't tell you. They both said they don't want to talk to you anymore. They told me they blocked you. They also said they sent a letter to your house." "Huh? What letter?" "Well, I heard various things from your grandma and grandpa, but in summary, they wrote, 'We are cutting ties. We don't need someone in our house who doesn't realize the gratitude for their parents.' Furthermore, they said, 'Even though we made you go to school and college to make you a full-fledged person, you don't realize who struggled to arrange the money. We don't owe you any money, and you are not family to us. Although I'm your mother, I agree with your grandma and grandpa with such a child.'" What should I do? Jake is really angry that I told you not to come to the ceremony. He said, "Your mother is the president of the company. I was counting on that money," and was very furious. "I see. From the beginning, he knew that I was the company's president. He didn't want to marry you, he was after my money. Yes, he said if I get cut off from my family, there's no point in marrying me. It looks like our engagement is going to be broken off at this rate. I thought I know the type of man who hangs around for someone else's money. And even if they get married, they would just be unhappy, so it would be better to break off the engagement quickly. Right now, I have no intention of helping Jennifer, so that the two of them can get married. Right. Isn't it fine if the engagement is cancelled? It doesn't concern me anymore. Anyway, I'm on a family vacation right now, and I don't want to ruin the mood with such a pointless conversation. Why are you like this, Mom? I beg you. All you need to do is attend the wedding, please. Although she was desperately pleading, there was nothing more to say, so I hung up the phone and blocked her calls. After that, I heard about the aftermath of the wedding from the mothers of Jennifer's classmates who attended the wedding. At the venue, the groom had shouted, "I'm breaking off the engagement. The bride has no money." The classmates who heard this criticized the groom for being too selfish, and it seemed he was a villain. But a few days later, Jennifer, who was being comforted by her classmates, said, "If only my mother had attended, if only she had given money," and explained why she had asked me not to attend the ceremony. The classmates reacted angrily, saying, "She paid for your cram school and university, and even gave you money to live alone without working a part-time job. How can you act so arrogant?" It seems she was harshly scolded. Jennifer, who finally realized her thinking was wrong after being criticized by her friends, came to the house where my parents-in-law and I were, but I had no intention of letting her in. After that, she kept coming to the house and leaving money put in envelopes in front of the door before leaving. Upon seeing the envelope, with "It may take time, but I will return the money you gave me. I really appreciate everything you've done for me until now," written on it.